I love to cross stitch. I find it to be a great stress reliever and really relaxing. But in order to keep it that way, I like to have everything in place before I even sit down to stitch. That means my fabric is cut and serged, I have extra needles, I have a needle threader, scissors, everything I'm going to need. But the most important thing that I need is pre-cut, pre-sorted floss. I usually put them on floss or thread drops like these. Today I want to show you just how easy it is to load these onto the drops and why it is such a good idea. I'll show you some tips and tricks on the easiest way I have found to do it. Before we get started though, please go ahead and click on that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on anything. And of course, anything I mentioned today will be listed in the links below. These are floss drops and they make stitching so much easier. They take a little bit of time, but you end up with a pre-cut size of floss, perfect for your project. It's easy to pull out one thread. You can just start stitching and go. Game changer for taking the stress out of stitching. The floss drops come in different materials and sizes. This one is plastic and it is from It's So Emma. I also here have some cardboard ones from Access Commodities and then some cute little floral ones by Primrose Cottage Stitches. They come in all styles and a lot of people even make them themselves if you're handy that way. They all have a few things in common. A big hole in the bottom where you can put your floss through, a small hole at the top where you can hang it on a ring, and there's different rings available. You can use a larger ring, or you can even get something like this. It's a fancy little thread keep ring by My Big Toe Designs. And the other thing you can do with them is you can write on or label the back of them with the type of thread it is. This is plastic, so I wrote on it, and when I'm done, I can use rubbing alcohol to get that off. You can also use a sticker, or when I use DMC floss, I actually just save the label and tape it on the back to make it quick and easy. The advantage of these is I've already decided what size floss I need for my project, and I cut it to size and then folded it back on the floss drop. And when I'm ready to stitch, I take my needle and I go in the slip knot section of the floss here, and I pick up one thread of floss and pull it through. It pulls out nice and easy. It's now looped, a looped thread that's about 18 inches long. There's a loop on this side so I can put my needle through there in the loop method, and it's good to go. I don't have to sort or cut my floss when I'm starting my project or beginning my project. I just can keep going. It's totally worth the effort, and it's really not that hard to do at all. I'm going to show you today how easy it is to load the floss drops. I'm going to do some different types of thread. I'm going to do DMC floss, Weeks Dye Works, and then I'm going to show you classic Colorworks and General Art sampler threads as well. Before I forget, I'm going to use the terms thread and floss interchangeably in this video. I'm referring to the exact same thing. I'm talking about the thread you use to stitch with. Let's start with DMC floss. With DMC floss, you will see that there's an end with the label, and that's the side we're going to start with. We're going to hold onto the label with one hand. We're going to find the loose end of floss with the other hand, and then we're going to start pulling. And we're going to pull slowly while we hang onto that end so we don't pull it out too quick. We're going to put a little pressure on that label so that it stays in place. What you want to avoid is pulling out a whole clump at once, because that's where it can get a little knotted, or it doesn't actually knot, but it gets a little tangled and then it takes a little longer to undo it. So there's 8.7 yards in a skein of DMC floss. It can take a little bit of time, but again, completely worth the effort. So we're going to keep on pulling until we get through here. Keep that little bit of pressure on the label. Some people do this standing up. Some people throw this end over their shoulder so they don't lose it. I just hang on to it. And I find that I can do it sitting at the table easily. I'm going to keep pulling that through till we're at the very end. We're going to save the label to tape on the back of our floss tab. Now I'm going to take my two ends here. Got the two ends. I'm going to hang on to them, and then I'm going to start pulling through this way. So we're doubling up the thread. And we're going to go slow. If it helps, you can kind of throw that floss down off the edge of your table onto the floor so it hangs and has a chance to untangle a little. It gets easier each pass you make because there's less thread to deal with. We're going to get to the end here.
And now we've got a loop on that side. I'm going to take the loop, I'm going to bring it up, oops, to my 2 loose ends. I'm going to hold them together nice and tight, and then I'm going to do this again. You can do it enough times so that you get a working length of floss that you like, and for me that's about 18 inches. So you do this about 4 times. So I'm at the end, take my looped ends, bring them up here again, do it again. There we go. One more time, bring it up together. And now I've got about 18 inches. This side is all looped. This side has loops and cut ends. So what I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm going to cut through those looped ends. So now these are all cut end and I have a loop end up here. I'm going to take the looped end. I'm going to feed it through the front of my floss drop and just pull that cut side through and I'm done. That's it. That was all there is to it. Now when I pull out a thread, it's the exact length for doing 2 strands of floss. Now if you're going to stitch with 1 strand of floss, when I stopped at 18 inches in doubling, do it one more time so it's 9 inches. And then when you open it up, when you pull a thread out, it'll be doubled, but when you open it up, it'll be your 18 inches again for 1 strand of floss. If that makes sense. Most often I do 2 strands of floss, so this is the way I do it. So that was DMC floss. And again, I can take that label and just tape it on the back side if I want, and then it'll tell me what color it is. The next step is I want to show you General Art Sampler threads and Classic Colorworks. And the nice thing about these is they are already cut. They're cut, but they're also doubled up on the strand. So what you need to do is take it apart, take it off of the card, and you'll see what you've got. What we've got is cut floss with cut ends on one side and looped on the other side, just like our other floss was. But it's stored this way for stores to take less room up. Open it up and you end up with this. Now you can put it on your floss drop, or if you want, you can just put it right back on the card it came with because it's got the 2 holes that you need and it tells you what kind of thread it is. So just feed that back through there, loop it on. And now when I go to stitch, I can pull out 1 thread and it'll pull right out. It wouldn't pull out unless I unfolded it. So that's all there is to Gentle Arts and Classic Colorworks. The next one we're going to do is Weeks Dye Works. And this is a little bit harder because it's not cut and it's a little easy to tangle. It also comes on a card that only has 1 hole. So we're definitely going to want to change it out to put it on a floss drop. So first thing we're going to do is take it off the little tab that it came on. Let's see what we've got. And what we've got is a loop of thread with, I can see a loose end hanging down there, but it's not neat. It's not as nice. Some people hang this on their wrist to do it. I find that that does not work real well for me. I need 2 hands to manipulate it and get it on the floss drop easily. If you have someone else in the house that can help you, by all means, bring them over and then have them hold it for you. Or you can get creative if you're by yourself. You can use a doorknob. I found this. It's holds guest towels in my bathroom. It's perfect. I can put the floss on the end of it. I can easily see the end piece here, and I can start pulling. And I can use that second hand to hang on to my floss up here. And you can see this one is tangling already. Sometimes they come apart super easy, sometimes they don't. I think it depends on which end you pull first, but sometimes it's hard to tell what that end is. At any rate, it's only 5 yards, so it doesn't take that long to get through the whole thing. And you really only need it held like this for the very beginning. Pull that all the way through until we get to our end, which is right here. And then we don't need that anymore. We've got our 2 ends. We're going to put them together. And we're going to go through until we get to the other end. This is a much smaller piece of yardage to deal with. Bring my loop end up to the 2 loose ends, and then do it one more time. And now there I am at that 18-inch length. I'm going to snip the loose ends here and put it on my floss tab. And again, if I want to stitch with just one strand of floss, I would be doing this and then clipping the ends again. That's all there is to it. So that's how I cut my thread and get it ready for a project and use floss straps. What do you think? Do you have a different way of putting them on the floss straps? Do you have any tips and techniques to share with us? Let us know in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you again soon.